Welcome, dear seeker of the macabre, to the haunting depths of echoes of the dark. I am Violet Nocturne, your enigmatic guide through what you fear to confront, what you shun in the daylight, and what lurks in the still, suffocating silence of the night. Oh, don't resist. You came here for a reason. Do you hear that? The absence of sound? Or is it something calling, lurking, waiting? They say true silence can unnerve, unravel, and ultimately consume even the most resolute mind. Let me take you then into the story of The Whispers in the Stillness, a tale that is all too real for those who dare to listen too closely. This story begins with Margaret, a young woman in desperate need of solitude. In a world flooded with endless chatter, notifications, and the pandemonium of modern life, her mind screamed for reprieve. She rented a remote, off-grid cabin, a sanctuary nestled deep within a forest, rumored to be older than recorded history itself. The cabin was said to be so isolated that no bird dared sing near it. No wind ever disturbed its grounds. It had a name, Stillwood. But a warning came with every whisper of its legend. The silence of Stillwood isn't empty, they would caution, their eyes dark with unease. Margaret, exhausted and dismissive of rural superstition, only heard what she wanted, the promise of a noise-free paradise. Arriving at the cabin, Margaret marveled at how pure the absence of sound could feel. No hum of cars, no distant chatter, just a cocoon of quiet. But the silence, as she soon learned, was too deep, too perfect. So total, in fact, that it rang in her ears like a living, breathing presence. As darkness descended that first night, she noticed something peculiar. Her heartbeat reverberated in ways she'd never heard before. Her breathing felt magnified, almost intrusive. Then she realized it wasn't just absence, it was an entity of its own. By the third day, Margaret began to hear what she imaginatively brushed off as the wilds of her own thoughts. Whispers, faint at first, like fragments of a conversation just beyond comprehension. Shush, they seemed to say. She mustn't, yet. They merged into an undertow of suggestion, barely loud enough to register. It must be the mind playing tricks when getting used to this level of quiet, she thought. But Margaret wasn't imagining things. The whispers grew bolder with every heartbeat she spent in Stillwood. One particular phrase, whispered almost playfully, sent waves of goosebumps rising across her skin. "Face us, Margaret." The words came not from one voice, but many, intertwined like vines choking the surrounding quiet. Yet, no external explanation existed. No phone, no intruder. It was thin air. Or was it a darkness too quiet to perceive? She refused to leave. Oh no, not Margaret. Stubbornness is the heart's strongest defense against the indefensible, against facts that fracture reason. Instead, her world narrowed. Every sound, every flicker of light felt foreign, oppressive. It was during one sleepless stretch, a night devoid of stars, that she noticed it. Beneath the cabin's foundation ran deep grooves, like channels carved into bone, pulsating with the faintest vibrations, as if they thirsted for sound itself. It struck her. The house wasn't devoid. It devoured. Imagine, if you will, sitting alone, cocooned in silence, realizing that the void is speaking back. Margaret's final act of defiance was to shout. A scream meant not as an alarm for safety, but as a rebellion against the unnatural stillness encapsulating her. But even her voice was snatched mid-breathe by an invisible claw, as though the silence had teeth. Some say she dissolved into Stillwood, her silence becoming a permanent part of its atmosphere. Others suggest she exists eternally in an unseen fold, her whispers adding layers to the soundless abyss. Regardless, They claim she can be heard by those foolish enough to stay too long in Stillwood's still grasp. So tell me, darling listener, how much silence could you truly bear? Do you trust the quiet around you? Or does true silence only reveal itself as camouflage, a wolf disguised as comfort? Remember, the absence of sound is never truly empty, only unseen, waiting for your attention like a parasite poised to invade. For now, I leave you with this. Should the world ever grow too loud, too distracting for your liking, perhaps you'll seek the same refuge Margaret did, in places where the quiet goes too deep. But beware, not all quietude is benign. Some silence listens back, and some, dear one, eats. Until next time, when I draw the veil back again to reveal yet another unsettling chapter of darkness. Sleep tight, my tattered little moths. Don't listen too closely to the silence around you tonight, for it, too, may be listening back.